Boy, if you don't get your... I had to start singing. I was like...
Roxiie says we're gonna talk about it.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl Roxiie with Roxiie Says, and we're gonna talk about it. Today we are reviewing Married at First Sight Season 18, Episodes 9 and 10. And I say this all the time, so much happened, but baby, a lot happened. And Echi, I let you rock last week, okay, because I was a little busy. But this week, oh boy, I'm on your ass. So let's get right into it. But before we do, please don't forget to hit like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure that you hit that notification bell so that you are made aware every time I post a new video. But how are y'all doing? How have y'all been? I want to wish y'all a happy new year. I hope it's been amazing so far. Mine has been going great, and I'm so happy to be back with y'all, all right? So let's get right into this review. So it is day 19 of marriage, and we see Allan in bed after Madison comes back from the little flag football games, and she lets him know that she's upset that he didn't make it. And Allan says that he didn't like that when they were out at the bar, there was more interaction between everyone else other than him and Madison. And he felt like she didn't really want to be there with him in the first place. He said he was looking around for her, and she claims that she went to the bathroom, and when she came back, he was gone. Well, how long were you in the bathroom for, sis? How long were you in the bathroom? And Allan reminds Madison that they have phones. And I'm like, okay, so then that means that y'all could have texted each other, right? It's a two-way street. So no one texted each other. Y'all just both left. Very weird. So Allan says that he feels like Madison operates on an independent level and he doesn't get the sense of us within their relationship. This is something that he has always complained about. And he says that the reason for his attitude is most likely liquor retaliation, and he got into the mode of not trying anymore for the night. Now, baby, I don't like that. That is a huge red flag in my opinion, because that shows that when Allan gets upset, he's just gonna get drunk and act like an a-hole. Not good. And Madison says that she doesn't like it because that is a trigger for her. She has experienced someone like that in the past. Allan says that that wasn't his intention, but he didn't know when would be the right time for them to talk about the situation. And he didn't want to come to the flag football game and be a downer. So instead of communicating, you resort to drinking, being an a-hole. That is a huge problem. Okay, Allan? And we've already seen numerous times that Allan will say that something is okay when he knows that it isn't. So now to know that he also uses alcohol to cope when he's upset, not good at all. Keep an eye out for that, Madison, all right? So now we are with Camille and Thomas after the game, and Tom is a little sore, so Camille helps him stretch out. And you can tell that at this point, they're not that comfortable with each other yet, because, baby, the way a comfortable couple would be copping feels during a game like this, okay, the game would end in the bedroom. You know what I'm talking about. But they aren't there yet, and that's okay, because we're going to see them get very comfortable very soon, all right? So we see them have a conversation about the talk they had with Camille's sister, and Allan says that he now has a new understanding of it being twice as difficult being a Black woman in America, because not only are you Black, but then you're also a woman in a patriarchy, right? And Camille reiterates that it wasn't a deal breaker for her, and she tells him that she's never wanted him to change anything about himself. Now, Camille, that is not what you were giving. That is not what you were giving at all. It definitely seemed like it was a deal breaker, but okay. At this point, I'm like, hopefully they can get past this little situation, because they both say that they actually like each other and they both feel like they're making good progress. So now it is day 21 of the marriages, and we are with Juan and Carla, and Juan went on an early morning bike ride, and when he gets back from his little bike ride 2 hours later, Carla is just waking up, okay? She's just waking up, and he's saying how ridiculous it is that she sleeps so late, and he makes these comments, right, in a little joking way, but he doesn't like it. He doesn't like it at all, and that's why he keeps bringing it up, and we're going to see him make slick comments later as well, especially when Juan said that he asked to be connected with a go-getter, with a boss, and he sees Carla waking up at 1 p.m. He's not feeling it, okay? Juan wants his woman to go to work. He wants you to always be busy. He doesn't want to see you relaxing. Get your ass up and go to work, okay? That is Juan's motto. So next we see and she's having lunch with her friend, and Claire Huxtable, remember, she is explaining Echi's aggressive comments to the other friend. And she's saying how ridiculous it is for Echi to be finding asking completely normal questions as aggression. And Echi often tells that it's because they don't know each other, right? But how can y'all get to know each other if you are creating an environment where she is afraid to ask you questions? How are y'all going to get to know each other? And is confused. Her friends are confused, but I'm not confused at all, because it is evident that Echi has no intention on staying with He does not. So he has no need to get to know her. He doesn't like her. He doesn't want her. He is just there to be on the show to promote his little book. And he's using the excuse of not having enough time to get to know each other. And says that it doesn't help that he's in bed by 9 o'clock. And there have been times where she's tried to have conversations with him past that time. And he's like, oh, nah, it's too late. It's too late. I'm trying to sleep. And the look of shock and disgust on MM's friend's face is exactly how I felt in that moment. Says that she no longer knows how to show up because she doesn't want to come off as aggressive. Girl, you literally can't show up. And honestly, I don't want you to. I don't want you to show up for this man at all. I want to give Echi the same energy that Michelle is giving David. Pay him dust, okay? Now, David doesn't really deserve that energy. We'll get to that later. But that is how I want to treat Echi. Treat him like a bitch. He would only have had one time to say that I was aggressive to where I was like, oh, you know what? You don't got to worry about me saying shit to you ever again, okay? So next we see David. He's going out with Michelle to get their brows done by her friend, and he's really nervous, but he is happy to be around Michelle and her friend, who she's known for 13 years. And the friend asks them how they're doing, and Michelle says, well, we take a couple of steps forward, and then we take a couple of steps backward. You know, that's just how we roll. Yeah, and it's all your fault, Michelle. It's all your fault. But her friend says that Michelle is always positive, which literally made me laugh out loud because no, that's not the case. But David does notice that Michelle is truly in her comfort zone because she is glowing right now. And I will say that it is such a shame that Michelle and David aren't clicking. There are so many reasons why they're not, and the reasons are primarily because of Michelle. But I feel like out of all of the guys here, David is the one who is really trying to understand his partner, trying to learn his partner, trying to love on his partner. Now, I don't know if it's an act because, baby, the previews that I've seen for episode 11, I'm shook. Okay, I'm shook, so I don't want to say too much, but as of right now, I really appreciate how much David tries in this relationship. And I don't know if it's just because she's a white woman with blonde hair and blue eyes, okay? We're not going to forget that was his requirement, but he does notice things about Michelle that Juan doesn't notice about Carla and that Echi doesn't even care to notice about okay? David does tell the friend that although Michelle has a wall up, he's working on getting through that wall, and Michelle has the qualities that he wants in a wife, all right? I really like this friend a lot. She gives them some ideas for fun dates, and Michelle says that she feels like they've gotten some of the heavy stuff out of the way, so now they can focus on having fun, which is definitely some progress, in my opinion, coming from Michelle. And of course, David is very, very happy to hear Michelle say that, all right? So next we see Thomas, and he is setting up the apartment with candles and some petals for a little bit of romance. I was like, okay, Thomas. And he gives her a robe and some champagne, and he tells her to get ready for her personal massage. And I was like, ooh, Thomas, what you trying to do? I hope he had on a pair of Jordans. I was like, boy, if you got on a pair of Jordans, it's going to be a done deal. You know that's going to get Camille in the bedroom, okay? So he's massaging her, and he's giving her kisses, and I was like, ooh, I started covering my eyes. I started covering my eyes because honestly, I was so happy for them because they both seemed to really be enjoying this experience. And then they started discussing the importance of sexual chemistry and wanting to make sure that the moment was just perfect and they were both comfortable. And Camille was like, well, I think we need to stop playing around and see what this is about. I said, Camille, look at you, girl. And we see them kiss like they have never kissed before. And Camille took his hand and led him to the bedroom. I was so excited for these two. When I tell you, I started singing. I was like, give me some good love. Somebody rocking, knocking the boots, because they about to do it. Oh, they was about to do it, and I was really excited, all right? So next we see Allan and Madison, and they say that they were able to have a conversation where they spoke through their issue about leaving the bar, and they were both able to realize that they were each a little bit grumpy, but all is well now. Even while watching this scene, I didn't believe that to be true, but whatever, all right? So now the couples have been married for 23 days, and we see Carla and Juan on a little date, and she tells him that she wants to share more about herself and her family dynamic, and she feels like that information will be helpful in Juan understanding how she is in her relationships, all right? So Carla tells Juan that she comes from a big Mexican family, and although her family loved each other, as she got older, she started to realize that the family didn't really have deep conversations, nor did they express themselves when their feelings were hurt. The only emotion that was freely expressed in the family was anger, right? And that's where she feels that her lack of communication comes from. She also says that there was a lack of affection in her household. No one said, "I loved you." No one gave hugs and kisses. And it was only after she got older and she went to therapy and she learned about how to give and receive affection. And that's why it is so important to her today, because that is what she wishes that she received as a child. So she's always tried to be mindful about that in her relationships and not fall into past patterns of not communicating and not being affectionate. And Juan says that he understands why it's a big deal for her, but he's just not there yet. And he says that he is working on being able to give her the affection that she's looking for, and he hopes that she doesn't take it personally, but she's gonna have to be patient with him. So Carla says that actions speak louder than words, and if she is important to him, like he says, he will make the effort. Look, when it comes to this, honestly, I understand both sides. The same way that Carla had to go to therapy to learn about affection because of how she was raised, I think that she should be a little bit patient in understanding that it isn't a switch that Juan can just turn on and turn off in a matter of days if he's not feeling it. But being a lover of affection myself, I also understand Carla equating a lack of affection to a lack of love and desire on Juan's part. And Juan doesn't give me Tom and David vibes like he's actually going to try like they do. Juan seems very matter of fact. This is just how I am, and this is what it is, okay? So we gonna see. Next, we see Michelle. She meets with David's friends, Tom and Tom, at a bowling alley. And at least Michelle knows how to be a good sport in front of company, okay? She tries not to show her ass in front of company. So she tells the Toms that she thinks David is a great guy and he's very kind and respectful and thoughtful. And Michelle does tell them that she came into this experience with an open mind, but she did find some things out about David that were unattractive, like his physical. And she says no comment when they ask him about his man bun. So clearly she does not like the man bun, okay? But she also says that his living situation and their lifestyle are different. And she also mentions the cussing, okay? And her mom brought it up and told her that David was cussing at brunch. Didn't I say that? Didn't I say that in a previous review? I do not understand how these people go to meet someone's parents, your future partner's parents, and you just dropping F-bombs. That is crazy to me. Crazy to me, okay? And Michelle says that she was embarrassed by her mother telling her this, and I would be too. I would be mortified if my mom and dad came to me like, "Oh, we met this dude and he was just cursing up a storm." I would be like, what is wrong with you? And now Michelle is worried if she can bring him around different people or bring him to different types of events, or is he just going to be cussing up a storm in front of everybody? And that is a valid concern because, like I said before, time and place, David. I like you, but time and place. Because if you don't have enough discernment as a grown man to turn that off in front of her parents, I'm a little concerned. But David's friends say, "Oh, that's an easy fix," which it is, but it does show a lack of maturity that it needs to be explained to him, right? And in David's confessional, he does say that he's irritated because he's starting to feel like a punching bag. And I get that too, but this cussing thing, David, yeah, that's all you, all right? So Michelle says that she needs to work on opening up and keeping a positive attitude. We know that that is not gonna happen, but she almost always shuts down because this isn't a natural feeling for her. And they remind her that no one is perfect, but they're shocked that she isn't head over heels in love with David because they say that he is such a great guy. So don't focus on the things that you don't like, okay? Like his living situation. Don't focus on that. And as soon as he said that, David jumped in and he's like, "You know what's so funny? At the snap of my finger, I can change my entire living situation." And I'm like, okay, that sounds good, but is there a way that you can confirm that with Michelle? Do the experts not require a full review and exchange of finances before these people sign a legally binding document? No? No? David is upset because he thinks that being real and genuine should be enough. Listen, it is necessary in a relationship to be those things, but when that rent is due, baby, when that mortgage is due, you can't go up to your landlord and tell them how real and genuine you are. They're going to be like, "Where the money at? Where's the money? Where are the funds?" I feel like some type of tangible information from the both of them is necessary. Yeah, Michelle, you're going to need to turn your finances over too in order for them to get past this, okay? Because honestly, as much as I don't like Michelle, I don't even get the vibe that Michelle is looking to be a kept woman. Like Carla, I don't get that vibe from Michelle. I don't think that she wants to be a stay-at-home wife. I don't think that Michelle wants to quit her job. I don't get that at all. I just think that she wants you to at least have what she has. Okay. And like I said before, ain't a damn thing wrong with that standard, but her attitude is still a hell no. All right. So next we see Allison. They're going to see Dr. Pia because they're still not doing the do. Madison says that their biggest hurdle is getting past the romantic and physical part in their relationship. Even though they get along well, there's still a bit of compatibility that is missing. And Dr. Pia asks them about the club situation and them leaving separately. And she tells them, look, this does not sound like the actions of a married couple at all. And Allan says that he took the approach of, if you're going to ignore me, I'm going to ignore you. And this isn't the vibe that he's used to when he's in a relationship. He's used to being with his partner when they go out. And I 1000% agree, okay? And Madison still seems like she wants to be by herself and she's more independent since she's been single for so long. Madison actually admits that her exes have always had an issue with how much time she spent with her family and friends as opposed to them. And Dr. Pia picks up on her pattern of not being invested in her relationships and prioritizing people outside of their relationships. And Dr. Pia asks them what will help her to prioritize Allan and their marriage. And Madison asks for more compliments outside of Allan saying, oh, you look nice. She wants to be told she looks beautiful in her dress. We don't want to hear that. We want to hear, ooh, baby, you look sexy. You know, ooh, baby, you look good in that dress. Ooh, baby, your hair looks this. Ooh, your lips look this. That's what we want to hear, not, oh, you look nice. So Dr. Pia suggests a little game that will help them get to know each other on a more physical level, all right? So they both say that they're open to it, and we're going to see how it goes. So Dr. Pia is making her round child because now she is with Thomas and Camille, and I cannot lie, I was smiling through this entire scene because they were smiling and they were just singing each other's praises. And you can see that Dr. Pia is very pleased, especially when they reveal that they have indeed consummated the marriage and they both feel like it has brought them closer and the possibilities are now endless. So they speak about boundaries during intimacy, and Camille says that she has no boundaries, okay? Camille said, give me the whips, give me the chains. She wants all of that. And Thomas is looking intrigued, but still scared at the same time. And you know what? I believe Camille 100%. Yeah, she be wearing them big ass moo dresses, but she probably don't be having anything on under those moo dresses, okay? So Camille, I see your game now. I got you. So now that they have checked the intimacy box, Camille still feels like she needs time to take more of a leadership role in their relationship in order for her to feel actual love, okay? And Tom says that it's hard for him because he's never really been put in a role and he's afraid to fail at it. But he does know that as they continue on this path, he'll feel more comfortable in that role and he'll be able to be more of a leader for Camille. But love scares him because you can put yourself out there and you can still get hurt and the person can still leave you. And he gets emotional and I'm like, oh, that's really cute. But while he was crying, I was definitely like, Tom, don't think I forgot that you cheated on your ex. Okay? Maybe they forgot it. I ain't forget that over here. And right when I wrote that in my notes, Tom admits that he has not been a good partner in the past, so he's afraid that he doesn't even deserve this next chance at love. And when he said that, I was like, damn, I hope he doesn't start to self-sabotage this relationship, okay? But they both definitely seem to be optimistic, and Camille says that she's actually reaching the point where she can't see life without him. And at this point, I was like, okay, I'm starting to like these two together now. I would be lying if I said anything different, all right? So now we see Dr. Pia with Juan and Carla, and I don't see it for these two at all. I don't. They seem bored with each other. And we learned that Juan hasn't met Carla's parents, and she says that it's because she doesn't feel like she knows him on a deep enough level for him to meet her dad, and I totally understand that. But I also think that it shows that Carla already knows that this relationship might not work out, so why even waste the time of introducing Juan to her father? And Juan, he don't feel no way about it, and I feel like it's because he also doesn't care, and he also knows that this relationship is not going to last. They just aren't saying it to each other. And Carla says that she initiates affection, and all Juan says is that he's just not there yet, nor does he feel chemistry or physical attraction. I said, well, damn. Well, damn, Juan, and Carla doesn't feel like physical attraction is something that can grow. And I totally understand what she's saying, but sometimes you might not be physically attracted to someone initially, but then you get to know them and then you're like, you kind of cute now. You kind of cute now, right? That has happened, but I do not see that happening for these two at all because I don't even think that they like each other's personalities, right? I don't even think that they enjoy each other's company enough for that physical attraction to even grow. And that's honestly why I think that these two need to just break up now, all right? They clearly see affection differently. They see finances differently. They see work ethic differently. They see gender roles within a relationship differently. Just let it go, all right? So next we see Camille and Thomas, And they go earring shopping. He tries on this obnoxious chain and bracelet, and they share a good laugh about it. And Camille is feeling the new look. She says that it has turned up his swagger meter, all right? And Tom is feeling himself too. And I was like, not Camille taking time shopping after he done put it down. Camille said, when he F me good, I go and buy him some jewelry. Hey, when he F me good, I go and buy him some jewelry. All right, Camille, I see you. Is Thomas and Camille my new favorite couple? Am I speaking too soon? Because in this scene, the past couple of scenes that I've watched for these two, and even into the next episode, I'm just cheesing when they're on my screen. It's night and day. It's night and day. I really like these two right now. Don't embarrass me. Don't piss me off, okay? And I can't lie, but Tom, you look cute with your little earring, okay? Good for you. I really love that scene so much. So at this point, the couples have now been married for 25 days, and it's still a shit show between MM and Echi. So earlier, we saw MM in a confessional, and she says that they went to dinner, and she asked him what he did to prepare for marriage, and in response, he raised his voice to the point where the other people in the restaurant started looking at them, and she had to tell him to chill out and let's go, okay? Because he was acting a fool. So now she's at the meeting that she requested to have with Dr. Pia, and MM tells her that she's unsure of what's going on, and when Echi comes in, he doesn't even greet MM, okay? Let me calm down. I cannot stand Echi. Okay? But we're going to get to it, all right? He makes a conscious decision not to sit next to her. Even Dr. Pia has to ask him, what's up with your attitude? And he lies, and he says that he doesn't have an attitude. It's just been a long day. And when he has bad days, he just has conversations with people who can pick him up, okay? And that person has not been MM. I said, excuse me? And he claims that every single time that they're relaxing, she starts asking him questions, and he just wants to enjoy her and get to know her. Okay, she wants the same thing, genius. That's why she's asking you questions. And that is pretty much what Dr. Pia says. And he's like, well, not in this case. And Dr. Pia clocks his stupid ass again, and she lets him know that his attitude and his passive-aggressive comments are not helpful in this conversation. So Echi says that the topic that creates the most issues for them is sex. And he says that he made it very clear that he didn't want to have sex with MM until they have gotten to know each other on a deeper level. But he says that MM still tried to initiate sex with him. And when he turned her down, he claims that she started acting funny and aggressive towards him. And he now feels like he's just a piece of meat in the house, and she's not respecting his no, and she's violating his consent, okay? So MM says that maybe signals got confused during the honeymoon, and she brings up that on the honeymoon, she remembers placing her hand on his thigh, and Echi is the one who took her hand and put it on his member, okay? So she claims that Echi is the one who initiated the sexual advances, and all she did was act on it when they got home. So here's the thing, all right? A yes on one day does not equal a yes in perpetuity. Okay, we know that, right? Someone could say, oh, I want to do something with you today, and tomorrow they can change their mind, and you have to be okay with that. We know that, right? But I definitely believe that Echi was sending mixed signals and putting her hand on his thing, and that's why she was drinking a bunch of honey packs during the honeymoon, all right? But on the other hand, MM, the second this dude said, no, stop, leave me alone, I wish that you gave him exactly what he wanted. Leave him alone, okay? Because you have been a little thirsty. And I said that since the wedding day. I did say that, but Echi also sees that in you, and he's playing on it, and he's making you look bad, and he's making you look crazy. Do not give him that opportunity, girl. Go get you a rose. Go get you a rose and use it very loudly, all right? But leave that man alone. Leave him alone. And even in this conversation, he has this annoying ass smirk on his face, and Dr. Pia is putting words in his mouth and making it sound like Echi actually wants to get to know MM and blah, 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 when he does not. He clearly does not. Even when he's agreeing with Dr. Pia and he's saying, yep, that's true. Yeah, I do want to get to know her. We know that that is a damn lie. And they end the conversation with Dr. Pia saying all they need to do is get to know each other better. I'm sitting at my computer like, did I miss something? Hello? How can they do that when he gets mad at her for asking him questions about himself? Are we missing something? Because this conversation has led us right back to square one. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? And why is she not telling these two to break up? I have no idea why. So next we see Michelle, and she requested a private meeting with Dr. Pia, and she feels that although her and David are doing better, she still feels like her staying with him would be her settling for something that she doesn't really want. Because she says that his lifestyle reminds her of the life that she's been trying to escape because it represents failure to her. And Dr. Pia tells her that that's just her mind trying to protect her because she has such a fear of not being able to do the things and have the superficial things that she valued when she was a child. And I'm sorry, but I do not think that the desire to live comfortably and have the ability to buy the things that you want for yourself and for your loved ones is superficial. I don't think that at all. I like living comfortably, and I like being able to buy things that I want when I want it for myself and for the people that I love and care about. Michelle tells Dr. Pia that she moved from a small town and she had to figure it out, and she created this life for herself. And Dr. Pia tells Michelle that instead of feeling like she has to teach David everything, see it as an opportunity to expose him to new things, especially because he is extremely open to all of her suggestions, which is 1000% true, okay? I have been saying that about David. He is definitely trying, but I do feel that every single time Michelle meets with the experts, they are always trying to downplay the importance of finances in a marriage when they know the stats. Okay, these people know the stats, and they know damn well that finances is one of the top 3 causes for divorce. Okay, so as much as I don't like Michelle, I also don't like that the experts are looking at her like she's crazy for having some type of financial expectation in her marriage. Yes, it is 1000% mandatory for your partner to show up for you, to be there for you, to love you, to care about you, to respect you. And you know what? With all that being said, the bill them still have to pay. The bills are still due, okay? What's not clicking? So next we see Madison and Allan, and they play their little twister sex game or whatever. And Allan's 2 favorite positions are cowgirl and reverse cowgirl. All right, so Allan, what that tells me is that you want her to do all the work and you don't have that much confidence in your stroke. That's just what I heard. I don't know. But we learned... But we also learned that they both like foreplay. We learned that at this moment, Madison isn't wearing any underwear with those rough behind jeans on. So Madison, you got those jeans on. You don't got to know. You don't have. Okay, moving on. Madison says that she has thought of Allan in a sexual way, but she doesn't elaborate. And I feel like the reason why is because it's in an unflattering way. I feel like her thought is like, yeah, he probably can't do this or can't do that well. That's why she didn't want to talk about it. And although they don't get as touchy-feely as I'm sure Dr. Pia would have wanted, the game goes well and they end it with a nice little laugh. All right. So it is day 26 of marriage, and we see Juan interviewing Carla about her career and her childhood. And Juan says that his family left Colombia when he was 7 and they moved to New York City. His parents worked very hard and eventually they moved to North Carolina. He says that he played sports in high school and he was scouted to be a model at the age of 18. And then he brings it right back around to Carla's career because when he first asked her, she tried to flip it on him. He's like, no, not so fast. I want to know what you got going on, all right? He wants to know how you make that money, girl. That's what he wants to know. So Carla says that her next goal is to get a location for her clients. And Juan says that he likes the sound of that. And in his confessional, he said that he would happily let Carla use any of his resources to help build her business. He said that he would even invest in her company because her success is his success. And I said, okay, we'll see about that, Jonathan. We'll see about that. Child, so next we see Echi show up at MM's practice. And he says that they haven't really spoken since the meeting with Dr. Pia. And he tells her that he wasn't trying to embarrass her during that meeting. He just wanted MM to know how he felt. And once again, MM says that she doesn't know how to move in this relationship because she doesn't want to make him feel uncomfortable. And he says it's pretty much the sex stuff. It's just been too much. And in so many words, Echi pretty much doubles down on him not wanting MM to ask him any questions. So I guess that he expects them to just get to know each other by sitting in silence. I don't know how he expects this to work, but then I remember, oh, he doesn't want this to work. That's the whole point. And with that, MM is just nodding and grinning, and she's telling him that she's okay with that, when we all know damn well that she isn't. And I'm like, MM, you're going to explode if you keep holding this in. And we're going to see that's exactly what's going to happen in a little bit, okay? So next we see Dr. P, and she visits David and Michelle, and they're together this time. And they both feel like things are going okay right now, but their work schedules don't allow them to spend a lot of time together, and they would like to spend more time together. At least that's what Michelle says, okay? So Dr. Pia pulls out an iPad, and she wants to show them clips of what they asked for before entering this experience. So she can show them why the experts actually match them together and why they do make a good pair. And after that, Michelle says says that she doesn't like where this conversation is going and she can feel herself getting annoyed. So Dr. Pia asks David to step out, and Michelle says that she just doesn't have a connection with him. How many times does she have to tell y'all this? She's been telling y'all this for so many episodes, but they still try to convince her to stay in this relationship. I don't get it. And Dr. Pia says, oh, it's because you're not allowing yourself to feel a connection to him. And she feels that it is more than the finances that's a problem for Michelle. She's just not saying what the rest of the issues are. And David is such a good sport because, baby, the way I would have told both Michelle and Dr. Pia that I am not about to be this girl's guinea pig for her to work out her childhood traumas on, oh, you got me all the way messed up. Get somebody else to do it. So she explains to David that going back to a simple life would be a failure to her. And now I understand why she was so offended when David called her apartment simple. But he didn't know that the word simple would be that triggering for her, right? Because he didn't mean it in a belittling way, but it means something to Michelle because that is what she has been trying to escape, the simple life. And he thanks Michelle for finally letting him in. And Dr. Pia wants Michelle to know that David isn't trying to change her or stop her from having all the things that she desires in life. And this conversation does end on a good note. It looks like Michelle is understanding the importance of communication. So we'll see how it goes. But my hopes are, of course, very low. So, child, now we are on to episode 10. And the couples have now been married for 1 month, okay? And we see Allison going through a photo album that the experts have sent over for their month-anniversary gift, and they're reminiscing about their experience so far. Even though they have made some progress, Allan wants to discuss their roadblocks, and Madison is like, do you really want to have that conversation today? Like, it's a good day, right? And Allan is like, you know what, you're right, let's keep it positive. But they both do say that they are optimistic for their future. Good for them. I am not optimistic. Okay, so next we see Camille, and she's at the basketball court, and she's a little upset because her and Tom had reservations for noon, but Tom is running late, and Camille had to call him and ask him where he was. She is not happy, and I totally understand why. Because if you're the one who's late, why do I have to call you and ask you where you are and what's your ETA? That's crazy. But she is a good sport about it when Thomas shows up, and she makes him do some drills as punishment. Baby, when Tom started running, I know that swagger meter went all the way down because, Tom, why don't you know how to run? You never ran before. That looks like it was the first time that man has ever ran, okay? But I guess Camille was cool with it because he had those Jordans on. So unfortunately, while they're playing their little game of basketball and Tom is trying to run, he ends up pulling a hamstring, so they cut the game early. But Camille was dunking on his behind. So they take a little seat, and Tom lets Camille know that he thinks that the reasoning for his tardiness is a good one, and it'll all make sense later. But he says that he is a little scared about how she made him pay for his lateness, and he says that it showed a bit of her vicious side. I'm like, yeah, now you're afraid of them whips and chains that she says she gonna use on you in the bedroom, right? So we learned that Camille truly loves basketball, and her dad always made it his duty to support her at every game, and he showed up on time, and that's the kind of man that she wants in a husband. So she's still really upset that Tom was late, okay? So now we are with MM and Echi. Child, we see that MM set up a little paint and sip picnic for them for their anniversary, and I don't know how to describe Echi's vibe other than stank. Just stank. Unpleasant. I cannot stand this man. Then this man uses a sports metaphor to try to describe the state of their relationship. And he's like, just because our relationship score is where it's at now, that doesn't mean that's where it'll be at the end of the game. Is that one of the sweet nothings from your stupid ass book? Is that where you got that from? Side note, I just gotta say, I loved MM's makeup in this scene. The pink looked beautiful on her. She looks so nice in this scene, all right? So Echi says that these are the types of things that he likes to do because he's an artist, and he says that they just need to take things one day at a time. And MM says, okay, is that something that you are actively doing? Now, this is the second time that MM brought up the word actively, and I understand why, because she can see that Echi isn't making an active effort in this marriage, and he's just leaving everything up to chance. And when MM asks him this question, he just stares at her like, and she's like, you gonna answer? No. And he's like, oh, I had something in my tooth. Boy, if you don't get your... I had to start singing. I was like, I had to visualize myself being in church just to calm down. Because baby, I don't know how you have so much patience. I don't know. But at this point, Echi definitely earned a good old cussing, okay? I know it's gonna come later, but baby, if you cursed him out in the middle of this park, it would have been warranted. Yeah, it would have. So now we see David and Michelle, okay? And they meet up for sushi, and he wants to show her that he can adapt to her lifestyle. And after asking David why he wanted to do sushi tonight, she then asks him if this is his date outfit. She's like, is this what you're wearing for this date, Michelle? Michelle, I didn't even notice what David was wearing until she said something. And Michelle really looks for an issue with everything. It is exhausting. Michelle, it is not that serious. David says that he didn't have time to go home and put on a collared shirt because he came straight from work. Now, honestly, I don't believe for one second that if David had the time to go home that he would have put on a collared shirt. I think he would have put on the same thing that he has on now. But I don't think what he's wearing is such a big deal. She's acting like he showed up in a dirty, wrinkled white tee or something. She's acting like they're going to a wedding or a gala. Girl, y'all are about to eat some $20, $30 sushi at most. It is not that serious, okay? She jumps over the fact that he's making an effort by going to sushi, doing something that she likes because he's trying to connect with her and spend more time with her. But instead, she decides to focus on what he's wearing. If David got his ass up and left this date, I would have gave him a standing ovation. But instead, he's still trying to find out what makes Michelle happy. And she tells him straight up, look, you can't make me happy. Only I can make me happy. At least she knows that much. David, that is your cue to stop trying, okay? I want both David and to stop trying to please these weirdos that they've been paired up with. They both agree that this isn't where they thought they would be at their 1 month mark. And then Michelle passive aggressively brings up the fact that David didn't ask her how she felt during the conversation. And Michelle says that David doesn't ask her questions. But Michelle, I specifically remember David trying to ask you questions on the honeymoon. And what did you say? You told him to back off. Remember? And David is getting frustrated and he asks, what's the point of him asking if all she's going to say is, okay, and then shut down? And he's right. And he's also frustrated because he says he's been trying his best. And at this point, he doesn't know what else there is he can do. And Michelle actually agrees. And she says that she's unable to move forward. And at that point, I'm just like, hello, why is no one saying check, please? Why is no one asking for a to-go box to wrap this sushi up so they can go to their respective homes and eat it by themselves? Why are they still together? There's nothing left to discuss, okay? So next we see Juan and Carla, and they're at this warehouse, and Juan wanted to bring her here because he thinks that it'll be good for her to see what it takes to actually run a business. And from the warehouse alone, Carla can tell that Juan does a lot, okay? So Carla thought that this would be the perfect time to tell Juan that she left her job, okay? Because she just can't be managed, and it was sucking all of the creativity out of her. And Juan is like, okay, so what's your plan now? Because I ain't taking care of your ass. He didn't say that, but we know that's exactly what he was thinking, all right? And Carla says that she isn't worried because she has vision and she has work ethic, but Juan wants to see how she's going to execute these visions, all right? Because you can have all the vision in the world, baby, but you got to put some work behind it or nothing's going to come of it, all right? So next we see and Echi, and they're back at their apartment and they have received a gift from the experts. And Echi won't even sit next to on the couch. She literally has to turn the book to face him so he can see the pictures. And he knows what he's doing. And in his confessional, he claims the reason why he's acting like this is because he feels like he has to walk on eggshells around Why is that, Echi? Why is that? Because you feel like, oh, she's going to ask me questions. She keeps trying to get to know me. Oh, I can't stand it. It's too much. It's aggressive. I'm sick of you. Sick of you, all right? So we see ask him how he feels about the vows he said on their wedding day, and he refuses to answer her question about the vows being specifically about her. And he's like, I wasn't trying to answer your question. And then he starts going on and on about his answers not being enough for and she always flips everything he says, and she keeps picking up a stick and beating it over his head. Now, I need you to see what he's saying and leave this man alone. I need you to stop making an effort with this man, okay? And he continues and he says, if she keeps doing that, he can give her those vows back and she could just keep that. And her vows never said that she was going to be an asshole. This man starts going off on her. He's like, don't come for me. Don't come for the way that I answer questions. And he gets up and he leaves. You know what it's giving? You know what it's giving? It's giving Big Booty Tim. Yeah. It's giving Big Booty Tim from Love is Blind. That's exactly how Tim was acting before he stormed off on Alex. If you know, you know. The way I wanted to jump through my computer screen so that I could cuss Echi's ass out for MM, the audacity of this man. What Echi is doing is not by mistake, okay? He is purposely being quiet. He is purposely weaponizing the silent treatment. He is purposely being standoffish. And then when MM tries to get something, anything, any type of conversation out of him, he makes himself the victim. And I'm mad at MM because she keeps trying to reason and understand this man instead of picking herself, picking her pride up, and giving him her ass to kiss. But her feelings are clearly hurt. She gets up, she goes to the bathroom, and she starts to cry after he leaves. And at this point, I was like, look, MM, I keep saying at this point, but at this point, if you keep trying with this man after this, I don't got nothing for you, baby. I don't have anything for you. He's making it crystal clear, and you don't need or deserve this treatment. You are better than this. You are beautiful. You are smart. You are accomplished. You don't need this. And we're going to see later in this episode why Echi has been acting like this. We already knew. But he's actually going to admit it in a roundabout way. All right. So next we see Michelle and David. They get home and they watch their wedding day videos. And we see them laugh. And David actually gets emotional because things are very different than the way that he thought they would be. They're very different than they were on the wedding day. And you can see that Michelle realizes that she hasn't really lived up to her vows. But they do end up apologizing to each other for earlier. And they discuss that they'll work on moving forward. The same things that they've already said. It's not working. Y'all have said y'all will stay positive. Y'all have said that y'all are going to communicate more. It's not happening. Hang it up, flat screen, okay? So now we see Juan and Carla, and they go on a little windy picnic anniversary date. And although Juan is still worried about her quitting her job, at least he is showing some enthusiasm on this date. He asks her about her expectations for the month, and Carla says, we can start our mornings off with coffee together. And Juan was like, well, that won't be a problem since your ass don't got no job. Listen, Carla laughed along with it, but you can tell that she did not like that joke at all right? But hold up. Didn't Carla originally say that she had like 3 businesses, right? But it kind of sounds like she wasn't as busy as she was trying to make it seem. And now Juan wants to know when she's going to find another job. But she's clearly not in that much of a rush. Baby, this is not going to work. This is not going to work. Juan is going to come home from work every single day and ask Carla for the rundown of what she did. Did she apply for a job? Did she send her resume out? Did she try to network and contact with these people? Juan is going to do that shit every single day. I can see it already. And not because he's necessarily interested in her passions, but he wants to see if she's going to make an active effort to earn some money. So he starts questioning her about an upcoming gig that she claims that she has. And you can already see that this gig isn't set in stone. No dates have been confirmed. No fees have been discussed. Nothing. Carla doesn't even know what she would charge the client. So it's clear to Juan that Carla embellished a bit when she called herself a business owner and an entrepreneur. It is obvious that Carla wants to be taken care of. And like I told her ass a couple of reviews ago, Juan is not the guy for that. Juan wants you to work. You are not going to be able to trick Juan into not working, sis. I don't know if that's your plan, but it will not be successful. It has been ingrained in Juan from his daddy, that you and your wife are supposed to go 50-50, point blank, end of discussion, all right? So next we see Allison. They go on a little fun excursion, and there's a lot of laughs, and they're having fun, but they always laugh and have fun, and that's pretty much where it ends, all right? And Madison thanks Allan for always trying, and she says that she recognizes and appreciates all his efforts. But in Allan's confessional, he says that he hopes the relationship can last forever, but he doesn't really see their relationship evolving much from the wedding day. But when he's in front of Madison, he tells her that he can actually see a world where they can last forever. And Madison says, forever is a long time. Forever is a long time. But Allan, why are you telling her that when in your confessional, you're giving a completely different vibe? Not loving that, all right? So next we see Tom and Camille. They go on a little date where they make wine or something like that. I can't remember. But after they sit down and they talk, and Camille says that this is the healthiest relationship that she has ever been in. And Tom says that in 5 years, he hopes to be making a lot of money, and he hopes that they at least have one. Well, he didn't say they. He says that he hopes that he at least has one kid, okay? Camille wants to be self-employed, and she wants the freedom of creating her own schedule. So we see them exchange gifts. Camille gets Tom a little putty thing where they can like put their hands in Madison and make a cute sculpture with their rings on. And Tom gets Camille a pretty red necklace because he said that she looks beautiful in red on their honeymoon, and it's also the color of her birthstone. He then said that that's why he was late, okay, because he had went to a first shop and they didn't have the necklace, so he had to drive to the second shop, and on his way back to their date, he got stuck in traffic. And Camille lets him know that she forgives him and his reasoning was acceptable, all right? So now we see She's in the bed, and she says that she has been texting Echi and he has not responded. He has not come home, and she's just here by herself. And she still wants to have a conversation with him. For what? For what? About what? Do you want him to explain to you why he's ignoring you? Why he's treating you like shit? What else do you need to discuss? Lord have mercy. So now it is 28 days until decision day, and the couples are getting ready for their 1-month anniversary dinner. So David won't be there because he couldn't get off of work, but he did send Michelle some flowers in his absence, which I feel was really sweet. Says that Echi came by just to get his shoes, and he said hi, and he left, and that was it. And still, she says that she has reached out to him multiple times. Why? We're going to get into that later, okay? So they're on the party bus, and Allan does a cheers to everyone, and he shouts out David in his absence, and he very shadily says, and that's it. That's all. And everyone laughs, which leads me to believe that the others don't like Echi much. And that's going to be confirmed even more later, all right? So Allan is so messy because when starts telling them about how she hasn't really spoken to Echi for a couple of days, he's like, what? He's like, what? But even before, when him and Madison were getting ready for the date, Allan made it clear that he was ready for the tea and for the juice, all right? So he's just eating this all up. And when Juan asks if their relationship is at the point of no return, she says, I don't know. Listen, Echi is about to piss us all off. He's about to piss us all off, okay? But I need you to take a step back and see your part in this, right? She is giving him all of the ammo that he needs to say she's doing too much, to say she's making me uncomfortable, right? He's ignoring you. If it was flipped, right? If it was flipped, right? And we're ignoring a guy and he keeps calling and texting, and, bruh, I would be like, what's wrong with this guy? What's wrong with you? Right? We're going to get to it though, okay? So she tells them about the conversation that they had with Dr. Pia, where he said that he felt violated, and everyone is trying to understand what's going on. But Camille makes a good point in saying that instead of being honest with his own issues, whatever they may be, what Echi is doing is he's resorting to painting in a bad light, and he's playing victim. Honestly, I feel like the reason why Echi is acting like this is after he saw that damn apartment, and it didn't make it any better when he went to her practice because he knows that he cannot compare or compete with her. So he started showing his ass. And on top of that, him not being attracted to her, okay? Because like I said in my previous reviews, I do not think that Echi is attracted to I don't think that she is his type. And that's why all of the times that she asked him what his type was, he was never specific because his type is not her, okay? So they get to dinner and Camille lets them know that her and Thomas have been moving and grooving, and Allan is like, oh, is it a boy? Allan had me cracking up during this entire dinner. He really came to life and showed his personality. I love that, right? And he's making a joke pretty much saying that Camille is already pregnant, and everyone starts laughing. But they do get really excited when Camille actually confirms that they have consummated the marriage. So Michelle makes a toast on them going to Pound Town. I'm like, all right, Michelle, what you know about Pound Town, Michelle? What you know about Pound Town? So Allan says that he's only gotten a kiss on the cheek from Madison, but he's okay with it. No, you're not. All right. No, you're not. So then we get to Juan and Carla, and Juan says that they're really chill and they're just having fun. And Carla is just nodding, and she's like, yeah, we're just trying to keep it positive. And while she is speaking, child, Echi shows up, okay? He shows up, he sits down, he doesn't say anything to And Allan asks him what he's been doing and does it warrant him being late to this dinner. I said, whoa. I said, okay, Allan, you see that energy that you got? I need you to have that energy with Madison. That's what she's looking for, okay? It's a little misdirected, but I see that you got it in you. use it with Madison. That's what she want, all right? But at the same time, Mr. Allan, don't forget that you missed the entire softball game because you were hungover. Okay? Let's not forget that. But you can see it all on Echi's face, the same way that we saw it when MM's cousin was asking him questions. He didn't like it at all. This man does not like to be questioned by anyone, okay? Anyone. But they do try to at least make some conversation with him, even though he's being very standoffish. But you can see how different his greeting is from when David came in. Baby, when David came in, everyone, well, except for Michelle, but everyone was so happy to see him. The guys were happy to see him. The women were happy to see him. They was giving him hugs and kisses. Complete difference from when Echi walked his ass in there, okay? And that moment made me like David even more, right? He came straight from work, so he apologizes for being late and underdressed, but the table is just happy that he's there. So Camille can't help but to get to it, and she straight up asks Echi, like, yo, what's good? And he's like, I'm good. And then she's like, yeah, but what's going on? And he's like, I have no peace in my home, and I don't want to talk about married life with y'all. And Michelle is like, so why did you come then? Really valid, okay? Why did you come? Because honestly, if you just came here to F up the mood, you can take your glasses and you could get the on, okay? You can go home. And Echi's like, well, I can leave if you'd like. And Michelle is like, well, that's not what I'm saying. I wish I was at that table because I'd be like, yeah, get your ass on. We don't need you here, all right? He then says that makes him feel like shit and he doesn't have peace. And the entire table is trying to get him to articulate what he means, and he can't, right? Because of course, he can't just come out and say, well, she keeps asking me logical questions that I'm sure you all are also asking each other, right? Or I went to her apartment and her office and I can't compare to what she has, so I feel emasculated and I have to use the silent treatment to break her down and make her feel like everything is her fault. He can't say that. He can't say that, right? But still, Allan is prying, and Echi gets a little loud with him, and he pretty much reiterates that he doesn't want to discuss it. David doesn't like how the conversation is going, so he speaks up and he says, look, we need to just respect each other. Okay, let's have this dinner, but let and Echi have their conversation in private. So the table pretty much agrees, okay, let's do that. But Juan is still on this kumbaya, talking about saying positive, and at this point, has had it. Has had it. And she tells Juan that she doesn't have much left to give, especially when Echi has called her an asshole and he's been ignoring her. And then he shows up in this Joker ass suit. I said, baby, let's go. Let's go, Give him what he's been deserving for the past 4 episodes, okay? And then Echi lies and he says, no, you haven't been texting and calling me. And she gets even more upset. And Carla's like, okay, let's go to the bathroom. Okay, let's calm down and go to the bathroom. And during this entire scene, my eyes were glued on Echi. My eyes were glued on Echi because I was like, you know what? See this? This is exactly what he wanted. This is exactly what he wanted. So, and this is the notes that I wrote, right? I said, so then he can turn to everyone and say, see what I have to deal with, right? That's what I wrote, okay? So we see and the ladies, they leave to go to the bathroom, and calls him a clown because that's what he is, a whole clown. And just like I thought he would. Just like I thought he would. As soon as the ladies were in the bathroom and he was at the table with just the men, he sat there real calmly and he was like, see what I mean? See what I mean? As if he played 0 part in that reaction. As if he played 0 part in that blow up. Listen, ladies, be wary, okay? Be wary when you're dating a man and you ask him what happened with his ex and he says, oh, she is crazy. She was crazy. She just blew up on me for no reason. Most times her acting crazy is a result of how he treated her. Okay, so just look out for that because we watched hold her tongue until she couldn't do it anymore. And I know that I wish left this man a long time ago, but I also understand her wanting this to work so badly and thinking, if I just try harder, if I just do this, if I just show him this, if I just show him that I care, it's gonna work, right? But as we can see very clearly, that is not the case for this situation. So when gets to the bathroom with the ladies, she's really upset because she came here for marriage. She's like, I ain't come here to be on TV like the rest of y'all. That's not exactly what she said, but she was making it clear. I came here to be married. I came here for an actual marriage, an actual relationship. But I must say, I absolutely love how the women got together and stood with during this scene, all right? They reassured her. They calmed her down. They reminded her who the F she is. And they told her, just chill out. Stay quiet. When we go back out there, we'll do the talking for you. We know the situation. We got you. Okay, girl? I love that. I absolutely love that. Meanwhile, Echi is at the table talking to the men, and he actually apologizes to Allan. He apologizes to Allan for getting loud with him, and he purposely waited for and the ladies to get back to the table and sit down just so that he can get up and leave. Boy, ooh. Oh, I can't stand this man. This man is so triggering. I cannot stand him. Oh my goodness. He waited for them. He could have been left. He could have left while she was in the bathroom and said, I don't want her to come back out and be upset with me or whatever. He could have been left. No, he wanted to make a point by waiting for her to come back. He was in the middle of a sentence. I don't know if he was talking to Juan or Allan. He was in the middle of a sentence. And as soon as she sat down, he was like, all right, y'all, I'm going to see y'all later. Echi, hear me loud and clear when I say that you a whole bitch. You're a whole bitch. Okay? And he's trying his best to be mean and to embarrass and it is unwarranted. It's unwarranted. And David actually jumps in and he says that he doesn't appreciate how Echi spoke to her. And I'm like, now, David, why didn't you say that when he was at the table? Y'all were just speaking. Why didn't you say it then? Why didn't you tell him that to his face? You wait till he leaves? Okay, whatever. Anyways, production is following Echi and they ask him why he's leaving. And he's like, I'm not going to sit next to that. He calls her that. You know what? Let me go on Amazon and rate this book 1 star, okay? Because if his behavior on this show is a representation of what's in that book, oh, baby, I don't even need to read it. It's already giving 1 star for me. Okay? And he's telling production that she's childish and he's not everybody's cup of tea and that's fine with him. And after all of that, Juan is still sitting at that table and he's like, look, if y'all just want to be friends, Jonathan, what is the matter? What's not clicking for you, okay? Because then he says that they just keep blaming each other. And has to step in and correct him because the name calling and the attacks, they're coming from Echi. They're not coming from the both of them. Jonathan, I need you to read the damn room, okay? So shuts it down because out of all of the things that Echi has called her and him claiming that she has touched him inappropriately, she's done. She doesn't want to be friends with him. At least that's what she's saying at this table. Echi is telling production that everything changed in the relationship when he said that he didn't want to sleep with her. And that's when she got aggressive. Meanwhile, is telling them that she was pretty much following his lead. He initiated the sexual contact and she's really sad. So she starts crying because this has been eating at her and she's been holding it in for so long. So next we see and Camille. They step off and Camille is absolutely disgusted with Echi's aggressive comments. And she's like, look, as a Black man, he should know not to call another Black person aggressive, especially when it's unwarranted, because we know how much that stereotype has been placed on us. So is clocking Echi, and she says that she thinks he was hoping that he would be paired with a dummy who didn't have shit and who didn't know shit. Someone who would be easy for him to manipulate, but she ain't no dummy. And I said, okay, talk your shit. Talk your shit, girl, but I better not see you, your master's degree, your apartment, and your business chasing after Echi after tonight. I better not see it. Okay? Talking about you trying to make this work. I better not see it, sis. So next we see David leave. He has to go back to work, and the night is pretty much over, all right? So now we see Echi. He's back at the apartment and he is packing his things and he says that he can't do this. He can't be with someone. Listen to this, all right? He says that he can't be with someone who thinks that he's smaller than they are and they think that they can belittle him. And I said, oh, there it is. There it is. Echi, you feel like you ain't shit. You feel belittled all on your own, okay? This has nothing to do with You're insecure. You can't compare and you feel inferior. And the only way that he can feel like he has something over is to hurt her feelings, to mess with her mind and mess with her emotions. That is what he's doing because that's all he has. So when gets back home, she sees that the closet is cleared out and that Echi has left and she is very, very hurt by this, okay? She's extremely hurt, and I get it. But like I say on all of these shows, I know it hurts. I know it's hard, but be thankful. Be thankful that all of this transpired in 30 days and on someone else's dime. On someone else's dime. Some people spend a lot of years and a lot of money before they get to this realization. Be thankful, girl. And just look at Echi as a little 30-day blip, okay? Just a who? Okay, who? Yeah, that's how you need to look at it, all right? But that was the end of episodes 9 and 10. Tell me all of your thoughts because, baby, those previews got me a little shook. It looks like there's going to be some cheating going on. I see on the couch with Echi trying to talk to him again. Why? You're not going to piss me off either, okay? People are sexting. The experts are stepping in. Baby, I'm so excited for next week's episode. If you made it this far, thank you so much. This was a long video, so thank you so much for sticking around till the end. Before you leave, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Put all your comments down below. Make sure you hit the notification bell. And I cannot wait to see you in my next video. And Happy New Year, y'all. Bye!
Roxiie says we're gonna talk